Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing very well. Today's video, we're gonna be doing something a little different. On my streams, I've been recently playing GeoGuessr for like the past few weeks. I've been really into it, and I thought, why not show you guys some really nice metas you guys can learn and become better players at GeoGuessr. So the first one I started to do was a learnable meta for Latin America. And basically, a learnable meta in GeoGuessr is like you see different types of signs, bollards, poles, cars, all those kinds of things, kilometer markers, and using those things, you can identify where you are in each country. So we're gonna start off doing Latin America to teach you guys. So we're gonna go through all the list, so one by one, country by country, so that you guys can learn. And then after I show you guys everything, I will be showing you guys a gameplay that I will be doing using these learnable metas, like a little commentary telling you guys what I think and all that kind of thing. So if we start with Argentina, we have chevrons. Red arrow chevrons is always going to be Argentina. Argentina typically uses white and red chevrons. Argentina has double concrete poles. So if you see a pole like this, it's very like unique. You won't see it anywhere else. It can be found in Bolivia, but most likely if you look at the landscape and guess from your vibes, it's most likely Argentina, this weird looking alien pole thing. They're highway markers. If you see a highway marker like this, kind of like a flag with a number, letter, black stripe, always going to be Argentina. Now this one is pretty good. This is more like a car meta. If the hood of the car is black and the landscape is very flat, dry, like a desert, it's going to be Argentina. There is sometimes Peru and Uruguay, but mostly if you guess on the landscape and the black car, it's going to be Argentina. Here we have license plates. Now, me personally, I am not the best at license plates guessing, but for this sake, we have their old and their new. Their old, if you can really see in the middle, it's just gonna be like a black little dot. And then their new, it's like all white, and then you can just see the letterings and the blue on top. This kind of license plate will be Argentina. Now, moving on to Bolivia. Bolivia only has one meta for country guessing, and it's their curvy poles. If you spawn in Bolivia and you see a pole like this, just very curvy, it's always going to be Bolivia. Now moving on to Brazil. Brazil, they have black back of signs. So on their highways routes, they're always gonna have these type of signs, and in the back of the sign, it's always gonna have a back background. Blue water tanks. Now Brazil is very known for having in their Brazilian roofs waters, specifically this brand Fort Lev. There are some in Argentina, but if it does not have the Fort Lev, then it's not Brazil. But if it does have Fort Lev, it will be Brazil. Paraná pines. Now these are very interesting. These will be only found in the state of Paraná, which is very south of Brazil, like at the bottom. And the only way that I remember this, these look like upside down, like umbrellas, like inside out umbrellas, because the way I guess they grow, they look like upside down umbrellas, and they're always going to be in the south, in the state of Paraná. Their poles. Now Brazil has poles very similar to Chile, but the only way to know is Brazil, they have a white paint at the bottom and also these slabs in between each spacing. Chile has the same poles, but Chile does not have white paint at the bottom and does not have those slabs. They have, which is dots. So if you see a pole like this that has slabs and white paint, it's Brazil. If you see a pole like this with no slabs, only a space with dots, that's Chile. And finally, we have Brazil's road marker. Brazil's road marker is basically a basic square with green and white writing, and most likely you're going to see BR, but sometimes you will see like some other letters like ME, MP, something like that, just different letters. But most likely, if you see this that has BR with numbers, green, white lettering, it's always going to be Brazil. We have Chile first, all yellow lines. Basically, Chile's all yellow lines on the roads are just a solid color. It's either only white or only yellow. And usually, if you see like snow, mountains, red soil, plus these all same color lines, it's always going to be Chile. Now, their poles, as we mentioned, just like Brazil, Chile has no slabs, Brazil has slabs. Chile has no white paint, Brazil does. So you really have to look into each little detail when going through the roads of Chile. But I believe this is a good one. You just need a lot of remembrance, and you guys will definitely be able to guess Chile. Now, Chile's unique car is kind of interesting because there's two types of unique cars that are in Chile. They have this kind of unique car that has all white hood. It's all blurred. You can only see the tip of the hood, and most of the time it's either all white, smooth all white, or all white with like these little bumps. It's pretty easy to recognize as long as you see the landscape. It won't be too hard if you can guess correctly by seeing this. That's Chile. Moving on to Colombia. Colombia, we have the Colombian cross. Now, in their routes and highways, they have these type of signs that are only a solid silver color and a cross that goes all the way to the top of the sign. Now you can see the difference between these two. This has black, Colombia has only a distinctive white thin metal, and then here it's just inverted. It's usually not really, Colombia doesn't have those kind of spacings, and here you can see it's very like imprinted into the sign. Here as well as the cross, and very inside of the sign, imprinted in the sign. Now this Colombia is very, it's one of the easiest to recognize their license plates if you know you're in Latin America. They're the only country using yellow license plates in Latin America. Kind of like New York, if you know about New York. They also have yellow. But if you're in a city in Colombia and you see cars that have a distinctive yellow license plate, it's always going to be Colombia. Now, Curacao has a unique car, believe it or not. This black street view car with the roof rack is unique to Curacao. So if you see the car that's all fully blurred, has roof racks, and it has a black hood at the front, you're going to be in Curacao. Dominican Republic is also a unique car. It's basically the opposite of Curacao. They have roof racks, and the front of the hood is always white. So Curacao has a black hood, Dominican Republic has a white hood. Ecuador. Ecuador is very unique for their bollards. They have very distinctive bollards, which is either a pole or like this shaped, unique, rhombus looking pole that has white, red striping, or red, black, and white. It's very distinctive if you really look into it. You can pretty much guess correctly if you see landscape, bollards, maybe even the pickup truck. And speaking of pickup trucks, that is our next one. Ecuador has a very distinctive pickup truck that has a red brake and all white. Now, do remember the similar one is in Ronda, but Ronda, most likely, if you see the landscape, it's pretty easy to recognize Ecuador and Ronda. But other than that, it's really just this. You can see the whole hood, red brake, Ecuador. Guatemala is also a very unique car, and it's almost exactly like Curacao in Dominican Republic. But the only difference is that you can see Guatemala's side view mirrors. So Curacao and Dominican Republic, you see their hood. Guatemala, you can see their side view mirrors. Moving to Mexico. Mexico has these unique bollards, three different types that are always, they have the bottom tip always black, and it's cylinder. They have one can be yellow striped, one can be nothing, one can be has like a very white, like basic color sticker around the bollard. So if you see a cylinder with a black bottom, a black tip bottom, it's always going to be Mexico. Mexico also has these kilometer markers that are very distinctive. They're not square, they're more like rectangular with just kilometer and the speed of the kilometers in this type of sign. Octagonal poles. So like the one we saw in Brazil and Chile, these aren't very like triangular shaped. These are octagonal. These are, sometimes you can also find them in Bangladesh and Malaysia, but if you see it through the landscape, you see it's very like Latin, Mexico, and if you see these octagonal poles, it will always be Mexico and Latin America. Now, these are also very good if you really look into the city and it spawns you into a city. If you see these rounded electric counters, it's always going to be Mexico. You can also find these in other countries such as Philippines, USA, Guatemala, and Dominican. But just like how it says in Philippines, you can check by vegetation, the climate, the landscape. USA, it can look different and it has English instead of the Spanish. Guatemala, just make sure you check out the car meta. And Dominican Republic, also remember the car meta. Mexico, now this one I really like because it's very distinctive, very recognizable. Mexico, when using like their their arrows on signs, sometimes even words, it's always going to be more thicker than other places in the world. They have a very thick, fat arrow than other countries. Moving to Panama, Panama has the car meta. As you can see, Panama, they have either you can see the full white car with no brake light and has the antenna, Panama. Another one, it may be blurred, but as long as you see a white hood and an antenna, it's Panama. Moving to Peru. Peru has a few very interesting ones. They have either black, yellow stripes on the guardrails. And one thing really interesting is about Bolivia. Bolivia can also have the same black, yellow stripes except it's beginning with yellow. So just remember, if it has black ends, Peru. If it has yellow ends, Bolivia. Now these I really like because they're very recognizable. They're Peru's concrete blocks. If you see Peru's concrete blocks in a sign just like this, you're in Peru. Just make sure you see the landscape. If it's very mountainous, dry, has concrete blocks, Peru. Electricity counter. If you get spawned into like a little town, a city with houses and apartments, and if you can really catch these right on the walls, on the concrete of the apartments and houses, it's going to be Peru. Kilometer markers. Peru has these kilometer markers that you can see through roads, highways on the side. If it has like black stripe with PE means Peru. It doesn't mean like, I know in Brazil they have Pernambuco. It's not that state, it's always going to be Peru. And also, a good way to remember these are the same as with the kilometer markers. These are signpost, and the post has a black and white stripe to it. It's always going to be Peru with the black and white stripe post. Puerto Rico has a unique car. Puerto Rico, the car is always going to be blurred, and how you can really identify it is if on the top, in the front right, there's going to be an antenna like this. So if the car is fully blurred, you see tropical trees and all those kinds of things, antenna on the front right of your car, it's going to be Peru. Moving on to Uruguay, our last one. Uruguay has the thick white signpost. It can be as tall as this, or there's also little kilometer ones where it's like about this tall, just about like 2-3 feet. These are signposts, and it's always going to be Uruguay. Now Uruguay has very interesting trident poles, electricity poles, that are basically normal sized poles, just very cylinder, and at the top it's like a trident, like this, with 3 little cylinders of electricity. And if it looks like a trident pole, you see it's very dry, flat-ish, it's going to be Uruguay. Uruguay, we have these triple road lines. Uruguay's triple road lines are very unique and distinctive because all you really see are double yellow road lines with white dashes in between. If you see these white dashes in between and these double yellow road lines, you're always going to be in Uruguay. Finally, this is what I was referring to with the thick white signpost. These are like the bollards, basically. White bollards and stone barriers. If you see these white bollards and the stone barriers that are fully white with like a little pyramid cone on top, and if you check landscape, roads, maybe even the triple road lines, Uruguay 100%. Okay, perfect. Since I showed you guys all the metas, I want to now show you guys a little game of me commentating using the LEARNABLE meta website. I will link it down if you guys want to use it, practice. It honestly really helped me out a lot. And now let's show you guys. I'm gonna show you guys. Okay, here we can see Policia, Camino, that's Spanish. I want to say off the bat. Wait a minute. Is there any? Oh yeah, white distinctive bollards. Okay, white distinctive bollards. I want to say Uruguay. It looks pretty Uruguayan too. Yeah, yeah, it has to be. It has to be. And also black carp. I don't think I mentioned it in the meta list, but black cars are usually in mainly Argentina, but also Uruguay. But since we see white bollards is distinctively Uruguay. Nice. Next we have okay, pretty hill, very hilly. Okay, so most likely it's the poles. Yeah, it's the poles. Spacing. There's no white paint, so yeah, and here you can see the dots. So definitely chilly, mountainous as well. We'll just go here, but for sure it's chilly. Nice. Next one we have here. We're on a bridge. Double yellow lines with white dashes in between. Immediately, I think of Uruguay as well as these white posts. Uruguay. So yeah, 100% it's Uruguay. Let's just go Uruguay. We'll just go up here. But definitely using that meta. It worked out amazing here. Okay. Immediately, yellow license plate, so that's definitely brings my mind to Colombia. And it looks pretty Colombian. Pretty Colombian. We don't see any circle electricity counters or the other kinds that are in Peru. So that's like process of elimination. It's not there. It's just from that it has to be Colombia. 100%. Nice. Nice. Next one we'll do here. Okay. Black sign in the back. That's Brazil. License plate, I'm not too sure. That looks yellow. And it wants me to say Colombia, but I don't think this will be Colombia. I think from this one, let's go off of this, a black back sign, which is Brazil. Is it Brazil? It's Brazil. Nice. That was a very good one. And right there, we got a 5 out of 5 on each country. And let's move on to another one. Immediately, I see these poles with the stripes. Now, if you guys remember, the one that has little slabs, that's Brazil. Red soil is pretty Brazilian too. Here we have a car with the antenna. But if we're going off of that, it's going to be Brazil. Very dry, so I'm going to go north. I'm pretty sure. Okay, it was Brazil. It wasn't north, but it was Brazil. We got that one nice. Here we look. White car. White car in the front can be. It looks like the Chile's unique car, to be honest. But if we're going from landscape and nature, yeah, it's Chile. It's Chile. It just seems very mountainous. I don't see like tropical trees to be Dominican Republic or Curacao. Plus, the car for there are the ones with the roof racks. Here is there's no roof racks. It's only the unique Chile car. So we're gonna go Chile. We'll just go right here. And we got Chile. Nice. Immediately, this sign just throws me to Brazil. Also, very red soil. Just very, just it gives me a vibe of Brazil, honestly. So now it's not always going to be BR for Brazil, but this one's very distinctive. If you just see this little rectangular square kilometer marker, it's always just Brazil. Always Brazil. Nice. Okay, here, my first thought was Chile because it looks like the same color lines, but if you really look into it, it's not. This one's like more of a white, bright yellow, and just a white out of nowhere. And see, from here, this is the BR Brazilian kilometer marker, so this is very most likely going to be Brazil. There we go. Here, if we learn from the learnable meta, this one is not thin. This is very fat and very bold. So if you see these kind of arrows that are very fat and very bold, it's always going to be Mexico. Always Mexico. So let's just go somewhere down here. Nice. It was very northern, but we got the country. We got a good 5 out of 5 for every single country. Let's go for one more. Let's go for one more. Here, immediately I think of north of South America, just from how the buildings look. Is there the car, any unique car? No. But let's see. We can use language. It's well, it's Spanish, so it's not Brazil. Maybe there's some sort of right here. That's what we were looking for. The circular electricity counter. Now these, if we remember, it's always in Mexico. Always in Mexico. So let's just go. Looks like pretty like in a little city. Nice. It wasn't Mexico City, but it was Mexico, so we'll take that. Next one up. Okay. Immediately, if we see roof racks with the side view mirrors, it's always going to be Guatemala. Guatemala. This doesn't look very octagonal. It's very cylinder. Very cylinder. Very smooth, so it's not Mexico because of that. It is foresty, but it's very... If we're talking about the meta, Guatemala. Nice. I probably should have gone out. I mean, it wasn't city at all, so I don't know what I don't think about it. That's fine. Here, PE. PE means Peru, kilometer marker. So if you see a kilometer marker like this, that's a black stripe on the top and then fully white. With PE, it's always going to be Peru. Now, it's not always going to be PE, but if you can really remember this marker, it's always Peru no matter what. There you go. Sometimes it has blank, like that. PE, it's always going to be Peru. Round four. Okay, so, yeah, okay. I was first thinking of all solid yellow lines, but obviously we have white, and like a dark yellow. So it wasn't chilly, but if we turn around and if we see this marker for the kilometers, it has a white post and the back plate is fully black. So that means it would be Brazil just from off of that. There we go. A black back of signs. It's always going to be Brazil. Here, very northern. I want to say it's northern, maybe not even south. Let's see. This is a very... Ooh. Okay, this one's definitely off of license plates, I want to say. This one reminds me of like Argentina's license plates. Yeah. I think it is Argentina. I believe so. Because if we look at this one, there's like a black dot in the middle. This one also has like a black dot in the middle and another black small little dot. Those are, I believe, the older license plates for Argentina, and the newer ones are these that has the white stripe writing, and on the top it's all blue with Argentina right there. So immediately Argentina, we'll just go there. And it was Argentina because of the license plate. As you can see, this one black dot because of the black spacing inside. This one is just all white at the bottom with a blue stripe on the top. Now guys, that was a learnable meta, Latin America. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really hope you guys learned something out of it. It definitely helped me out a lot, so I just wanted to show you guys some learnable metas for Latin America. Next time, I will be recovering a learnable meta for USA to start learning those. I will be doing, since we did Latin America, I'll move to US, Canada, move to Europe, Africa, and just go through the whole world, and hopefully it'll help you guys a lot, and it surely did for me. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give this a like, a follow, comment. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time.